The visuals on your screen show the shattered gates of a Shiite mosque in Pakistan's capital of Islamabad. These images capture the sheer force of the blast that tore through the site, claiming the lives of more than 31 people and leaving close to 80 others injured. In the next set of visuals, the human cost becomes unmistakably clear. Worshippers who had gathered for Friday prayers were caught in the explosion, bearing the brunt of the attack. What should have been a moment of faith and reflection was of course violently interrupted as the targeted strike in fact turned the mosque into a place marked by blood, panic as well as devastation. A powerful explosion ripping through a residential neighborhood in Islamabad, shattering buildings and plunging the area into chaos. According to Pakistani police, the blast struck a Shiite mosque at the height of Friday prayers, triggering scenes of confusion and terror as injured victims cried for help and survivors scrambled to escape. In moments, a place of worship was transformed into a scene of chaos, fear and widespread destruction. Welcome to another episode of Deep Dive. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. Today we will uncover all that happened at the Shiite mosque in Islamabad's capital. Pakistan's capital, of course, Islamabad, has been rocked by this blast. It has led to the loss of innocent lives. This explosion taking place at the Imam Bargah Khadijat ul Kubra, a Shiite place of worship located in the Tadla area of Shehzad town on the outskirts of Islamabad. Friday prayers, known as Jummah prayers, are the most important weekly congregation in Islam, and at the time of the blast, the mosque was crowded with worshippers who had gathered for the sermon and communal prayers. Witnesses say the sound of the explosion was deafening. Windows shattered instantly, parts of the structure were damaged, and people were thrown to the ground by the force of the blast. In the seconds that followed, panic swept through the mosque as survivors rushed to escape, carrying the injured and calling out for relatives amidst smoke, debris and confusion. Police officials say the blast was caused by a suicide bomber. According to initial findings, the attacker attempted to enter the mosque but was stopped near the entrance, possibly by volunteer guards or security personnel stationed there. It was at that point that the attacker detonated the explosive device. Investigators believe the decision to trigger the blast at the entrance may have prevented even higher casualties inside the main prayer hall, where dozens more worshippers were gathered. Even so, the impact was devastating. Shrapnel and blast pressure caused severe injuries to those standing near the entrance, and several people inside the mosque were wounded when the force of the explosion traveled through the structure. Emergency sirens soon echoed through the neighborhood as police, ambulances, rescue teams and paramilitary forces rushed to the scene. The area was immediately sealed off and bomb disposal squads were deployed to check for secondary devices, a standard precaution following such attacks. The attack occurred in Shehzad town, a residential locality that lies on the outskirts of Islamabad. The Tadla area is known for its mix of urban development and village settlements and sits along key routes connecting the capital to surrounding districts and Rawalpindi. While parts of the area are quieter compared to the heart of the capital, it remains firmly within Islamabad's jurisdiction. Islamabad is considered one of Pakistan's most secure cities, housing government buildings, foreign embassies and major security installations. Large-scale terrorist attacks in the capital have been far less frequent in recent years compared to regions such as Khyber Pakhtunkhwa or Balochistan. That reality has made this attack particularly alarming, underlining concerns that militant violence is once again creeping into areas once considered relatively safe. According to police, 15 people have been confirmed dead so far. More than 80 others were injured in the blast. Many of the wounded suffered serious injuries, including burns, shrapnel wounds and fractures caused by the force of the explosion. The injured were transported to major hospitals across Islamabad, including the Pakistan Institute of Medical Sciences, Polyclinic Hospital and CDA Hospital. Medical facilities declared emergency status as doctors, nurses and trauma specialists were called in to deal with the sudden influx of patients. Some critically injured victims were later shifted to hospitals in Rawalpindi to ease pressure on Islamabad's medical system. Doctors have said that several patients remain in critical condition, and authorities have warned that the death toll could change as treatment continues. Blood donation appeals were issued as hospitals work to stabilize the injured. Security agencies say a full investigation is now underway, with forensic teams examining the explosives used and intelligence officials attempting to trace the attackers' movements and possible connections. The bombing comes at a time when Pakistan is already facing multiple security challenges, including increased militant activity in certain regions, political uncertainty and economic pressure. Incidents like this place additional strain on the state's security apparatus and raise questions about intelligence gaps and preventive measures. For the residents of Shehzad town, the blast has left a deep scar A neighborhood accustomed to everyday routines was suddenly transformed into the center of a deadly attack for worshippers across Islamabad. The incident has also shaken the sense of safety associated with religious spaces. As investigations continue, authorities say their focus remains on identifying those responsible, dismantling any networks involved, and preventing further attacks. Meanwhile, families mourn those who lost their lives. Hospitals continue to treat the wounded, and a nation once again confronts the human cost of extremist violence. Major General Sudhakarji, geopolitical analyst, is live with us on the broadcast. Major General Sudhakarji, what do you make of this explosion? Who possibly is behind it, and the intended objective?
Good evening, Uday. Thank you for getting me for your show. And my take on the whole issue is that today Pakistan is rife with terrorist activities, homegrown terrorist activities, and particularly towards Islamabad side. This is the capital city which hasn't witnessed far too many, but my mind goes back to 2008 when the Marriott Hotel was attacked by terrorists. They had good number of casualties, 62 I think killed, almost 252 were injured. And the latest one was in November when in front of the court there was a kind of a blast wherein I think 12 or 15 people died and good number were injured. So my assessment when I joined the dots, it comes to following options. First and foremost, it could have been done by the Tehrik Taliban Pakistan. But if Tehrik Taliban Pakistan has done it, then it is a departure from the stated policy of Tehrik Taliban. Departure means they had first demand was they will not accept the Duran line. Second is that they will run a parallel government, and third is that the expansion or application of the Sharia law. These are the three. There are far and few attacks by Tehrik Taliban Pakistan against the Shiite Muslim mosques. And if it has happened, then perhaps this could be an exception, not as a rule. Second is by the ISIS Khorasan. ISIS Khorasan has been provided sanctuary by Pakistan, ISI particularly, and they have been given the staging camps and also the logistic bases inside Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, lower sides of the Pakhtunkhwa, as also part of Punjab. So quite possible they have done it in the past in Afghanistan. They could possibly have done it, and intent is very difficult to decipher. The third and most important thing which is coming to my mind could be a false flag operation orchestrated by ISI. ISI in the past, when you study the ISI pattern of activities for past 25, 30 odd years, they have conducted similar kind of terrorist attacks. Call it by any name, but generally it is known as false flag operations, so as to galvanize people, the majority of the population of Pakistan being Sunnis, to keep them together. Because Sunni Muslims within Pakistan itself, they have shown signs of very serious fault lines. There is a intra-religion divide taking place gradually, despite the integrated approach and the philosophy they enjoy. So this possibly is one of the options which is emerging. What could be the intent? The intent at the moment is again very difficult to decipher. Maybe the people of Pakistan are getting divided. If you look into the military, the constitution is falling apart with Munir, Field Marshal Munir have been rested with all the powers under his finger, be it the Nuclear Command Authority or the Army, Navy, Air Force, or the adjudication or appointment of judges, and creating a constitutional court that is running parallel to the Supreme Court, thereby marginalizing the Supreme Court itself, non-existence of worthwhile media, or any kind of pillars, the legislature, the executive, the judiciary, they are almost ineffective. So under these circumstances, perhaps this is an act to bring the people of Pakistan together, but again, it is too premature. But everything has to be seen from the lens of what is happening in the neighborhood, particularly Iran. Iran is a Shia-dominated state. There are Delta Force troops who are already deployed along the border between Pakistan and Iran, around, I think length is around 902 kilometers. There are also attack helicopters poised to fly into Iran, and Mossad is operating along with the Delta Force. Some of the Mossad in large number, they are already inside Iran, close to Tehran. From the border, it's a distance of 1600 kilometers. That could be a kind of a curtain raiser or precursor to a major activity likely being planned against a Shia Muslim in
Okay.
Iran. This could be a very, very far-fetched kind of a
Yes.
assessment. So therefore, too premature to say anything. Back to
Yes.
you there.
And what do you make also of the location chosen for the explosion as well? Obviously, the attempt was as many casualties as possible. What do you make of the location chosen? Also, the fact that it happened on Friday prayers day.
Yeah, this is what, this is basically to, how does it actually impact? It impacts in bringing in widening the divide between Shia and Sunni Muslim. So the Shia being a minority in Pakistan, if this divide takes place, then it is going to have a ripple effect along the adjoining countries or the immediate neighborhood. Neighborhood is Iran. Now, coming to your specific question, pointed question, what does it indicate taking place in Islamabad? Basically, whoever has done it is trying to convey a message that everything is not normal in the capital of Pakistan. It is fraught with what do you say, discrimination between the divide which is existing between the minorities and the majorities. Number two is that Islamabad is going through a situation where the law and order is not stable, and therefore it has to be looked at with suspicion. And why am I saying this, Uday? Is that be mindful of the fact that there is a FATF meeting taking place. It is already in progress in Mexico. This meeting is already considering, examining all kinds of activities taking place in Pakistan, particularly the sponsored transborder activities of terrorists. So this factor also could be a kind of a stage managed orchestration by some of the parties which could be trying to project Pakistan having lost control over its law and order, despite the fact that Field Marshal Munir has taken control of the administration directly or indirectly. Civil government is ineffective in any case. This FATF thing is actually striking my mind because this is the ideal case to project to the international organization, whether it is Shia mosque or any other mosque taking place, that things are not normal in Pakistan. It is the same ground which has been nurturing the snake to attack the neighborhood. And like Hillary Clinton in 2013 reminded Pakistanis that don't ever think that the snake that you are nurturing in your backyard, meant to attack or bite the neighbor, will not come back and bite you. I think it is that biting which is reminding Pakistan, and it's going to have a greater say as far as the international
Yes.
agencies are. Back to you,
All
please.
right. Major General Sudhakar ji, appreciate you joining us with your perspective on
Thank
this
you.
segment.